Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark, and we're here for the news hour. We're about midway through October here. A bunch of games are starting to come out. We'll get to that in the news. But I'm here to talk about the ones that I have been playing up first. The last game I'll talk about is a game that I have been streaming for you that I have decided to play off stream just because I do want to get to other games for you, especially ones I've been promising. And I feel like, and especially through what I played through so far, I want to play this completely differently because, I played through Persona 3 with you guys, and that took almost most of the year. And I would just like to have a little more variety with you guys here. Maybe we'll play it at some point. Probably not. I shouldn't say that. But, yeah, so without further ado, let's jump into what I have been playing. Let's start off with Tomb Raider. When I went between that and I think it's Jedi Survivor, whatever the first of the Star Wars games with the guy from Shameless in it. I was trying to figure out another game to fill the gap, and I played a little more Tomb Raider. That was more up my alley. Not being a huge Star Wars guy, but yeah, so I played through a little bit more of that, and that game's really fun. They did a really good job with those games. They have a nice loop. I need to make sure I slow down so I can say that correctly. And you really have to, decide if you want to continue with the story or try and 100% each little section of the world. I'm obviously, since I'm playing off stream, I'm trying 100% each thing. So it's fun trying to solve some of the puzzles there. So shooting feels fantastic. The puzzles seem a little easier, or maybe I've just played a lot of games with puzzles that I can kind of see them, a lot better than I used to. But yeah, and some of the jumping required for the puzzles I'm better at, and that has to do with probably playing a lot of platformers recently. So Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the second one, is very, very fun. I'm probably still going to play that on and off when I need a break from my main game. And I don't really want to play a sports game. But yeah, that's definitely the second game in the chamber that I'll probably periodically play throughout the year. I know I sort of go off on tangents, like ADHD tangents, but I really should finish Uncharted 4. I just remembered I haven't finished Uncharted 4. That should be a game that I pop in when I just want a couple hours of, the game, not a whole bunch of, RPGs that I've been playing. So looking forward to finishing that. Acting is great, and the story is pretty good so far. And yeah, I can't wait to finish a little more Tomb Raider. Continuing NCAA, finish up probably my last season at North Carolina. Hopefully I get it. There's a good job offer out there afterwards for me to find a new challenge. It'll probably end up dominating at that school anyway after a year. But yeah, it's getting. I don't want to be. I want to play different teams in a different conference and all that stuff. But the game is still fun as hell. They've updated the game a lot, and it feels a lot. It feels a little bit different in a good way than it did when I was first playing it. And a lot of the little side features are getting better. So it looks like I think next year's game is going to be really, really, really good. Now that they have this base in place and it can add in some of the things. So that's what I'm more excited about as I play through NCAA 25 here. And then for the games I've streamed, I've only really streamed one that isn't the main game for this section. We have I've been playing through Super Mario Brothers 2. USA for the stream. We have the second episode Monday or tonight when you hear this. We're using save states just because we found out that the checkpoint system is terrible, and I'm not good enough for that not to be 7 months of repeating levels over and over and over and over and over again. And I am not good enough that you guys would stick around for that. So my goal is to possibly get it done by Christmas, maybe. Here, I'm already in World 3 of 7, so we'll see how that goes. It's fun. I am at the point that I've never been to before. I never finished World 2 in all my casual playthroughs of it. And, you know, so World 3 is brand new to me playing. I've watched people play past this, but I've never physically had to, play it myself. So, I'm excited because everything is new territory from here on out for me, which is my favorite part of the Monday streams. So, yeah, we'll see how I do with that. And then we'll see what other garbage, no, this game ain't garbage, joking, comes up on the wheel. And one other thing I forgot to mention, I did acquire a Mister. So, I am in that club now. I got it set up. I have everything on there that I want. I tested a couple of the cores, played a little Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like 5 minutes. I don't even think I could pass up to the part where that's the end of, I think, Super Castlevania or Castlevania 1. I forget what's the, one, I don't know if it's this one or whatever, but I haven't played Symphony of the Night in a long time. I haven't gotten past the tutorial level, for this, but I just wanted to test it out. It looks great. And then, of course, I played Link to the Past, and then I checked out, Road Rash on Genesis and, Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES. I don't know if I'm going to hook that up for stream purposes, as Game Ball Cat wants to join the stream. As I don't have a case for it yet. That's coming soon. I guess once I get the case for it, I could have it safely in the office where I stream. Because the box is a little cumbersome right now that it's in. And nowhere really to put it. There might not be a place to put it once I get the box, or the case. So, but either way, I'm gonna have fun with that. That'll be like something I could take to like my sister's house and maybe play some Sonic with her when there's nothing else to do. So I'm excited for it, and thank Jonathan for that, Mister. And finally, I broke down and I purchased Metaphor ReFantazo. I'm loving the game. It's amazing. I saw it get 92s and 94s or whatever on Metacritic, and I was like, you know what, I gotta buy it. And maybe I'll sacrifice getting one thing at Comic-Con or something like that, or, figure something else out for something, and so that I can play this game. This game is amazing. What I did was I restarted. I didn't bring any of the demo stuff over. I kept the character's name. He is still Vaulty. But I did not bring any of the saves over and all that. I started from scratch. And I discovered something I didn't know in the demo because I kind of rushed the demo. There's a whole separate side dungeon that you can go to before going to the main dungeon. In that little section, where you can essentially level up, and it would have made the main dungeon part so much easier, and I didn't have to run through it or scrape by playing. The downside is now I'm slightly over leveled for that dungeon, and I'm kind of running through it right now. But I'm probably going to get to the demo end about an hour early, just because I'm running through the main part a lot faster than I did the first time. And also skipping a bunch of the dialogue and all that stuff. So, essentially allows me to speed through that a little bit quicker in the beginning. But yeah, combat is amazing. I'm understanding the archetypes better. I'm glad I restarted. I now understand with your main guy, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but what I'm doing with the main guy is anytime we get a new archetype, I'm immediately learning it at Academia. And then I'll go back there if I want to switch to that, because I didn't notice it was like a persona, but you can only do it in the menu, like switch back and forth. So if I get to a place where, like, I really leveled up the mage, so I have like lightning, all that stuff. So if I go into a place where I notice everything is like weak to fire, ice, or lightning, I can, in the menu, switch to that and then go. There's going to be some grinding involved if you want to, obviously, to level out everything, because at level 20 is when you can find the second job. It evolves, essentially, for Pokemon fans out there. Or you get the second job for you Final Fantasy fans out there. And, you can grind to get up to those. I grinded, I'm about midway through. I'm about 14 or 15 on the mage. And I'm doing the healer right now so I can finish that quest for more that you guys saw in the demo, which I should have done by the time I'm done this first dungeon. Yeah, I haven't figured out the bond things yet, how to improve those. I randomly got the bond level 2 with Galaga, or I think I did that on the demo too. I don't know essentially how that happened. That's the only system I'm not figuring out yet. I figured out the Kingly Virtues, which are essentially like your charm, academics, I forget the third one. Courage. I think it's courage in Persona 3. So I figured out that process. And you can actually see how you're progressing on the scale, which I like so much better than how Persona handles that. So I can see when I'm getting close to leveling up and if I should concentrate on it. It does have the day-night system, as you guys learned at the very end of the demo. And I apologize, I was like 2:30 in the morning. I was playing through part 4 of that, which should be up on YouTube soon. And, I've already leveled up. I can get my stuff purified at the church, which is... If you're playing this game and you haven't... You're going to play this game, you're listening to me right now, I would, number one, say once you get the ability to go out and do things to upgrade your knightly virtue, I would concentrate on 2. Make sure you get whatever the church wants. I forget which one it is. I think it's wisdom or something. Whatever the church says you need, go to the church, see what they say you need to purify items. Concentrate on that one first. So find missions that have that. There's a stupid one where you sit on the bench and watch a crowd to get points. Right nearby. You can do that. And then go meet the white-haired girl or woman near the Igniter shop and start her quest. That's how you open the second dungeon to be able to grind before the real dungeon. There's a lot of great treasure in that dungeon and stuff you can have purified at the church. That is ridiculous. And the other word of advice I have is, if you want to, I would fight the dragon, which I did not do on stream in the demo, and I did in the game here. It's a little difficult. You have to understand the concepts of the game. But the weapon you get is really good in there. And the other treasure is great as well for doing other things. But yeah, I would immediately do all of that. And then after that, once you get to level 2 on that Kingly Virtue, and am able to get the purification and go and finish that dungeon, then you do whatever you want. I don't have any advice from that point forward. Maybe I'll have some advice later. But right now, that's what I concentrate on. There's another easy thing to do where some guy wants to know how is the cook at the inn that you're staying at, and you go do that, and he'll give you points towards the wisdom or whatever you need for the church. So a lot of easy stuff early on in that regard to have everything sort of interlock together to work out so you don't feel like you're wasting your time like you do sometimes in Persona. So I was glad to see that. Yeah, so I'm off this week from work. Little inside Mark baseball here. So I'm going to be playing a lot of this game. There might be a special stream Monday afternoon where I'm going to be playing Etern Knights because I have some time and I just want to play it. We'll go through that. Yeah, that game is fun so far. So, anything else about Metaphor? No. Game's spectacular so far. I'm going to probably be over. I'm probably going to get rebirth levels of hours into this, probably 100 to 130. Just grinding. I had so much fun grinding last night. It was like midnight. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm up to right about the same point I was at last time. We just got to go into the catacombs and the cathedral. All right, oh, it's this other thing opened up? And then you do the SpongeBob meme, 2.5 hours later. And I have not progressed the main story at all. I got to the first save point, or second save point, in the cathedral. Or the catacombs. I think we're in the catacombs. I forget. I got to the second save point where the cat, if you remember from our demo, where the cat's in the world and you can save there. And I saved there. That's as far as I've gotten in the main story. Because I spent 2.5 hours grinding. So I am enjoying that game. If I do the grind, you know I'm enjoying it. Yeah. So, alright, that's what I've been playing. And now it's time for the news. First up, Nintendo announced an alarm clock called Alarmo. They're trying to reinvent the way of waking up, according to this. Instead of making Switch 2, we're going to make a clock. That's what we decided here, folks. We're going to do a clock. This is what they came up with. The device, will scroll down a little bit so you can see it. It's got a bunch of characters that'll encourage you to wake up. And they really love doing this life stuff. Like, they were going to do the Pokemon thing for a while. I forget what that is. I don't know if that's in this story here. But yeah, so if you want an alarm clock that wakes you up with Nintendo sounds, it's going to be $100. Come out early next year. This probably go the way of the Wii Fit board and Pokemon Sleep? There you go, Jonathan. Pokemon Sleep. This thing looks terrible. I mean, the look is pretty cool. I mean, Nintendo, not cool, but Nintendo usually makes very unique looking things and very recognizable things, and this is definitely that. And they said that it only works if you sleep alone. Well, they know their audience. Ba-ding ching. I thought this was a nice first story to pull here. There wasn't much this week outside of game releases that went on in the news this week. So, yeah, this was very interesting because everybody thought the announcement would have been like a Switch 2 thing or something like that, but that would have been perfect. I imagine that if I would have showed Ant and Dan this, they would have also probably responded with the same Simpsons race car bed. That's pretty good. So if you want a Nintendo alarm clock and you live alone, have at it. Next up here, we have, like I was saying, the only news this week really is that a hell of a lot of solid to great video games are coming out this week, from what I've seen on Metacritic. So I'll run through the list and just have a brief talk about them. The DLC or expansion or whatever you want to call it for Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, came out on October 8th. The Silent Hill 2 remake, which apparently is better than you would think from what I've heard, also came out on the 8th. Destiny 2 Revenant expansion also came out on October 8th. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which I also heard is surprisingly good, came out on October 11th. Starship Troopers Extermination, whether you want to consider that big or not, it's got a name on it that people would know. That came out October 11th, so that might be the odd one out. Like, one of these things don't look like the other thing on here. And then Metaphor came out on October 11th, today. And it's already in the mid to high 90s on Metacritic. Like 92, I think, was the lowest of PC, Xbox, PS5. And yeah, this is when you know you're in a video game season. You know, you got your group of games coming out that people probably want to play at least 2 to 3 of them this week, and you know, this is going to be a busy month, as it says here, because Dragon Age: The Veilguard, Black Ops 6, if you're into Call of Duty, is also coming out this month. So kind of crazy, but yeah, the big story this week was that a bunch of these games came out, and they were all a lot better than people were expecting. I think we had high hopes for Metaphor. I know we did here on this podcast, but it seems to be exceeding even those expectations. I've seen a lot of Game of the Year talk about it. A lot of people were down about Blooper Team doing Silent Hill 2 Remake, but apparently they did a really good job with it. And then, obviously, you know, Blizzard and Vessel of Hatred, you know, doing its thing over there. So, yeah, this was the big news story. You know, all this stuff coming out, and Mark will probably, he's going to be playing Metaphor. I don't know if I'll get to the Silent Hill 2 remake this year. And then I'll be playing the Call of Duty. A lot of things is dependent on if they come out on Game Pass, because I have limited resources right now. In terms of, you know, it's this time of year with Comic-Con and you know, nieces' Christmas presents and things like that. And they're getting older, so their presents are getting more expensive. So if it's not on Game Pass, most likely won't be playing it, except for Metaphor, because I got serious FOMO when I started seeing 92 to 94 on Metacritic, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus, I gotta play this. And then I didn't want to spend 6 months playing it for you guys. No offense to you guys. But I'm going to play it offline and enjoy it a bit there. Yeah, so it's that time of year again. Speaking of Metaphor, it just released like a day ago, roughly. And it's already sold 1 million copies. It is now the fastest selling Atlus game of all time. And Persona 3 Reload had that record beforehand. So it looks like Atlus is like, using a baseball term, you know, batting 1,000 so far with these releases this year. Yeah, 1 million copies is insane for these type of games. Because maybe I've just been wrong thinking about it, but I always felt that the Persona, maybe even, you know, non-SMT games, I always felt they were like the niche, the cult ones. I thought the SMTs sold better, but I might be wrong. I might have that backwards. At least before Persona 5 and Reload and Metaphor. I feel like it was like that. Yeah, and he said this Japanimation stuff seems to be catching on. Yeah, and I've already seen on some podcasts and stuff that the... Okay, so I had it backwards. All right. Yeah, so, but yeah, it's just... this shocks me, even though probably... Maybe it shouldn't have. Maybe I've been underestimating Atlus games, but... Yeah, the fun thing with you know, anime having a big breakthrough here is I've seen... I don't know if this is just because of this or things this year, but I saw a fun thing of 2 guys on a podcast talking about fan service, and they had 2 completely different ideas of it. One guy was a Marvel fan, and one guy was an anime fan, and fan service to both of them meant 2 completely different things. So that was a fun conversation for those that know what I mean. And yeah, so this was fun. I'm glad. And also, like, apparently 50,000 people are playing the game at the same time, which is insane for a you know, concurrent play for anything. And I'm assuming by the end of the weekend, or even in the first week, it's going to get to 2.5 million, which will be ridiculous for the first week. Yeah, so look forward to me talking more about Metaphor as weeks go along. You know, I got my first impressions, you know, in the what I've been playing section before this, but we're going to be talking about a lot of it going forward. Next up, another game. God. The more and more I hear about this game, the more it's just so charming, and I love the idea. I now want the second game that this was based off of. So for those of you audio listeners, for those of you watching the stream, you're already laughing like I am. The headline of this story, we're talking about Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. So the headline on this story is, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii began as a concept called Like a Dragon Tuna, where Kiryu was a fighting fisherman. Now I really want the Kiryu as a fighting fisherman game. The RGG is just they found their groove with this. It's amazing. Like the Ichiban stuff, and I gotta play Infinite Money at some point too this year. But yeah, on the blog here, Yokoyama says that for quite some time I wanted to make a game called Like a Dragon Tuna, where Kiryu, as a tuna fisherman, sets off to fight against fishing boats. I want that game. I also want the Mijima as a pirate game, but also give me the Kiryu fighting people on tuna boats. Like, come on. I have never... Now, this is a personal thing, obviously. Maybe people have been more in touch with games that have been canceled or reskinned and all that. I have never heard of a game that was changed into something else where they told what the original idea was, and I was like, oh, I also want to play that game. Most of the time, it's like, oh, okay, I see why they changed that idea. Like, I think it's the old, what was it, Titan that Blizzard did? Where they were, like, trying to mix a whole bunch of stuff together, like relationship simulator, not like dating relationship, but like relationship simulator, kind of like Persona type deal with first person shooting, and try to combine that all. And it didn't really seem like it meshed, and it doesn't really sound like a great idea. And then they just basically took the shooting version of that game, ported it over, and made Overwatch. And I'm like, oh yeah, Overwatch looks great. Was on fire for years, in a good way. But I didn't want to play the other game. And yeah. And there you go. I want to hear what the D&D style RPG concept was for Doom. Because just the idea of that sounds great, but it needs to have a nice hook like Kiryu fighting fishermen on tuna boats. We need a Doom man was doing something insane. But yeah. Yeah, this is the first time where I want to play both versions that they were coming with. So, the magic's going to run out soon, because it usually happens for most video game studios. But they're just on a fucking roll right now. Well, yeah, technically, yes. Doom as an RPG is SMT. But that's not id's version of Doom. Like, I would like to see what id was coming up with in terms of a D&D style RPG. I feel like Atlas and id would have completely different ideas of what that world would look like. Yeah, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, but I just love this photo of Kiryu. Looks like he's punching a shark in that photo. So, yeah, I can't wait to play this game either. But, yeah, this was one of the best headlines I've read this week. Next up, on more interesting news side, Sony announces that it's permanently removing Little Big Planet 3 from PS4 and the PlayStation Store, along with all of its DLC. My assumption is that I had two assumptions, and it looks like it's the less interesting one. It looks like there was way too many hackers in the servers, and they just couldn't get on top of it while doing other things. So they just shut it all down, and they're just going to remove it because nothing they can really do about it. I had hoped that it was just like music licensing, which is more of the less, it wasn't a bad time for the people playing the game, which is what the hackers would be. But yeah, so October 31st, you can continue to play it if you have it, but you can't buy anything. But just make sure of that. I don't know. It doesn't say here. That's probably they send him upstate to the farm, Sackboy. Now that Astrobot is now the mascot for PlayStation. I don't know if this is one of these situations where you don't want to delete it because you can't re-download it. It doesn't say here. I'll scroll a little bit to see. I didn't see that when I was looking over it. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about that. Okay. So, yeah, but if you're really if your kids play Little Big Planet 3, I would 100% just say keep it downloaded. Don't even risk taking it off. Sackboy has been sacked. You are 100% right, Night Duck. Yeah, so, sad news there. Little Big Planet was the first game that I played with my oldest niece, actually, that we played together and had some fun with way back when it first came out. So a little bit of a nostalgia for me. We never really went past Little Big Planet, the first game, because she got into Minecraft, and that's about it. Minecraft and Sims is what the oldest niece started playing a lot of. It's more Kitty Ashcat is the one that went more into the other games route, scary games and stuff like that. And apparently she's a Siege player now. We'll learn all about that during Extra Life, which I will talk about at the end of this broadcast. But yeah, Little Big Planet, Sackboy, in my heart. All right, next up. Steam is now warning customers that they're buying a license, not a game, before they continue to payment. This is all coming from a new law in California. If I'm correct, I believe it is California. Let me scan. Yes, California. That they need to make it clear to customers that when they buy media, they are only buying the license. They're not actually buying the game. So that, I guess means they can pull the license at any point, which all of us noted with digital media. We've kind of known that. But now they just make it very much up front here. So if you were wondering why, you get the little thing here right below the continued payment thing. For those of you watching, you can sort of see what we're talking about there, but just talk to you for you people just listening. When you go to the continue payment section, below will be a little thing, a little box that just says a purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. Full terms and conditions, please see, and then you hit the subscriber agreement. So basically, it's always been in the subscriber agreement, but now they have to put this big notice here. Kind of like, when I first heard this story, I akined it to the Surgeon General's warning on cigarettes, essentially, where we all kind of knew they caused cancer or were very bad for you, but then they were forced to slap the warning on there. I feel like this is the same thing, but for digital licenses. So basically think of it that way. For those of you that are in my age group, I remember when cigarettes first got the really big, they always had the little tiny warnings, but then they started putting almost covering the name of the product warnings on there. So, yeah. Essentially, just letting you know about, probably they can pull the license at any moment. So, yeah. All right, next story. It's going to be kind of a quick news week. This will probably be a quick podcast here. So Microsoft will soon let you buy and play Xbox games directly in the Xbox app on Android following the Google ruling. I believe Google lost a case where it needed to open up its Play Store to competitors for 3 years. So it allows you to, they had to carry third-party app stores in the Play Store and full access to the catalog of apps and all that stuff. Sarah Bond said, the court's ruling opens up Google's mobile store in the U.S., will allow more choice and flexibility. Our mission is to allow more players to play on more devices, so we are thrilled to share that starting in November, players will be able to play and purchase Xbox games directly from the Xbox app on Android. So if you play games on your phone, Xbox games on your phone, and you've had an Android, well, you can now play it with no problem. This was a pretty interesting story. The first part, the being able to buy on the app, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And you can sort of do what you do in the PlayStation app, at least on my iPhone, and buy it. And then you can, if you have it synced, which I actually haven't synced the PS5 to my phone yet. Had a while, never did it. You can tell it to download if you have it in rest mode. I think you can do the same thing with Xbox. But I've never thought of playing an Xbox game on my phone. But then again, I'm also almost 40 years old. So phone gaming, not something I really did growing up, outside of a few minor things. And my Monopoly Go that I am still doing. I am level 2,650, for those of you keeping track. Next up, a teen, or dog playing Tetris, made it all the way to level 225 on NES, and got to see what they call the Mythical Rebirth, which is where once you clear level 255, I believe it takes you back to level 0. Because, for those of you who know technology, probably already know the answer to this, but I will explain it the best I can. I believe 256 is I want to say a magic number, but there's a technical term for it. It's the memory can't do any more than 256 number wise. Binary stuff. There you go. Binary. So once it clicks over to 256, it resets to 0. Essentially zeros and ones and all that good stuff. So he was the first person to clear it. Up there, he was live on Twitch. He cleared over 3,300 lines, over 80 minutes, and was, like I said, live on Twitch while he did it. So there is a record of it. People thought that, it would be impossible to do it, but now new techniques like rolling and hyper tapping and all that is now letting these things that were seeming like never going to happen to occur. So it's a pretty cool achievement. There, it's just a fun little thing that this NES game has been out, at least 34 to 35 years. I don't know if this is the. Let's see if it says NES Tetris, so I'm assuming that I think Nintendo. Yeah, I don't see it on here. Yeah, so he took 20 minutes on the final level alone. So yeah, it's I don't think this is the Tengen Tetris. I think there was an actual officially licensed NES Tetris. I think that's what this is. Yeah, so pretty cool story. I'm always fascinated by like the Donkey Kong Tetris Pac-Man stuff that comes out and the way those games were just programmed and stuff. Oh, man. All right. Throat's getting a little scratchy. All right, our final story. Like I said, there wasn't much news this week. I literally went to the IGN page where I get all my news to make it pretty easy. I probably could jump around other sites, but they usually give me enough. It went from news from 4 days ago to news I covered last week. Like, it was like a 3-day gap of nothing. So, that's why we were a little short this week on news, but I am finishing up with our final story, which, as always, whenever they put this up, they're adding things to the PS Plus game catalog. I believe this will be for extras and premium people. I don't think this is for the regular groups. So if you find this on your monthlies, feel free to download them. But if you have extra or premium, you'll probably be able to download these games. Dead Island 2 is on there. 2 Point Campus. The Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil in Me. Grease. Return to Monkey Island. Ghostbusters, Spirits Unleashed. Firefighter Simulation, The Squad. Overpass 2. Tour de France 2023. The most up-to-date Tour de France game. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. The Last Clockwinder. Dino Crisis, which I guess is an upgrade, like, of the PS1 game, maybe? Siren and R-Type Dimension EX. So, yeah, just scrolling down here for those of you, Grease is such a good game. So if you are a PS Plus subscriber, check and see if these are available for you to download. Oh, wait, where's the... It's modern attempt to... Oh, so it's just the 1999 game. Okay. Yeah, so fun times there. I think there were Amazon games up, but none of them... I don't know how many people actually do Amazon games. So I did not pull that. Yeah, so those are your games. If you want to go check it out, if you have PS Plus, I'm sure next week we'll have another Game Pass update. Game Pass had some really good games pop up this week. I was pretty satisfied with them. And also, PS Plus had some free games that were, like, WWE 2K24 was free for regular people. Not Plus or Extra. Or not Extra or Premium. So... maybe they're starting to throw some stuff out there in the holiday season to get people to buy subscriptions. Yeah. So yeah, that's all the news. Let's end this podcast with some Extra Life news. So Extra Life is we raise money for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia through the Extra Life campaign, which partners with the Children's Miracle Network. We normally would do like one big stream and possibly a couple little ones, but because of life and kids being born and kids growing up, I decided to give as much freedom as possible for everyone. So the way the schedule will go, the link will be in the chat to get to our Extra Life website to donate. It's tinyurl.com/extralife9, the number 9, or Extra Life year 9, the number 9. So you just click there and go donate. We're looking to get about $750. We've made over 1,000 to 2,000 each of the last 4 years. So we'll hope to hit those numbers again. But we understand, people are getting older, life gets in the way sometimes. So, and that's also why we're splitting up the time we're streaming. On Extra Life Day, on Game Day, November 2nd, I will be hosting a 12 to 18 hour stream. I say 12 to 18 because it really depends on if I have my clock duties for the Camden Community College basketball team on that Saturday. It'll be 18 if I can start at 9 a.m. and go straight through to like 3 in the morning. But it'll be only 12 if I have to start a little bit later in the day. Maybe even 15 if I have to start later in the day. But yeah, be on the lookout for the exact. My goal is to start at 9 a.m. and to 3 in the morning. Because that's usually around the time when I would start getting tired. When we tried to pull the 24-hour. So I think that's a good place to have the absolute cutoff. But if I'm feeling tired before that, obviously we'll close it out. Because we will be streaming every Saturday. Or at least the first 4 Saturdays of November. Tom is taking a shift on the 9th. Jonathan, I know we're going to do an archipelago run together, or however. I still need the full details on that. We'll talk about that off air to get that all set up. So I am going to be available. I'm going to be doing my normal Saturday game, whenever the gap is there. So we'll be probably playing Etern Knights each Saturday, but I will also be playing other things as well. I have a couple ideas for one of those nights to just do something real fun and cool, but I haven't finalized it yet, so I'm not ready to announce it. And also, I don't know what day it'll be. It depends on when the least amount of people are able to stream. But just to give you an update on games for my long stream on November 2nd, we're going to be doing Link to the Past Randomizer. Probably start off with that, get the juices flowing. I'm trying to hook up with Kitty Ashcat to play a couple rounds of Rainbow Six Siege and get yelled at by 14-year-olds. Hopefully, we don't need to cut out of that quick because there are problematic 14-year-olds in our team. I'm only going to open the mic to my team, not the other people involved. So we're going to do some risky stuff there. I'm going to have to talk with her beforehand, to have to talk with her friends. But we're going to try that out and have some fun. I'm going to try and defeat the Reaper in Persona 3 Reload. We might try that for an hour or two. Unless if I beat it on first try, which who knows. Just to get that over with. And then we'll play... and then we'll probably play some Call of Duty and stuff like that as well. But yeah, those are the main things that I got planned. That'll take up most of the time that we have, because I'll also be playing Etern Knights, during that time as well. And then people will be in the Discord all the time, throughout every Saturday, popping in and out or staying for the whole time. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be a nice thing. And then obviously our December 31st stream, where I play Fuser for a half hour, I'm going to try and see if I can do any of the, it's not so much hacking, but the way of putting, newer songs into there, than the songs that are on there. Honestly, I don't even know if Fuser opens anymore. I've seen people play it, so maybe it does, but that's my December 31st stream. If not, we'll come up with another theme. Last year, I almost beat Jaws on stream without knowing it. All I had to do was basically hit Jaws with the ship at the end, and we would have won. So maybe we'll do something fun with that. Maybe I'll do some of the BizHawk, auto-switching games thing or something. But yeah, Extra Life's going to be fun this year. Like I said, go to tinyurl.com, Extra Life Year 9, and we'll see you there. Hopefully you guys stop by. Roxy Foxy might be doing stuff on her channel separately, but she is part of Team Game Vault Pod, so all the money goes to our team goal. So without further ado, I'm going to sign off here. Like I said, shorter episode, wasn't much news this week. I didn't play many games, so not much to talk about at the beginning here, but so be sure to join us for tonight's stream of Super Mario 2. We are using save states in that just because that has a really terrible checkpoint system, and I don't want to play the same levels over and over and over and over again. I'd rather get to another game than do that. So we are currently in World 3. I think there's 6 or 7, so we're about halfway through. It should take us about a month or two to get through it, depending on how good I am in the final and ending worlds here. At some point, I'm trying to beat Wart by the end of the year, is the goal. So join us for that, and then we'll have News Hour / Near on Friday, and then Saturday will be Etern Nights, and I'm back on Monday for Super Mario 2. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Please note, even though I just said all that, that there will be no live News Hour on Friday and Near. I forgot, we're going to be in New York for Comic-Con. So that will I'll probably end up, maybe we'll run that on Thursday. I'll do a Thursday show since I am off all week, so I'll have time to prepare. So just be on the lookout for that. Sorry. Quick programming change on the fly there. So it's been a good show. And we'll see you next time. Bye.